You're still watching the City of Lagos TV show, and you're welcome to the Lagos Agencies in Focus segment on the show, where we take a look at the strategic relevance of certain agencies in Lagos, looking at their efforts and initiatives. And of course, it is very clear that Lagos is a cosmopolitan city with a huge population. And of course, there is a need for a sound environmental management program and projects to develop a sustainable environmental situation for the populace. And one of the agencies actually responsible for this is the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency. It's my pleasure to welcome the general manager of this very strategic agency, talking about Dr. Dolapo Fashewe. You're welcome, madam.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. It's very obvious you have quite a number of innovative initiatives. But first, let's look at the Eco for Clean Air,
Cash for Trash,
and of course the Sonolu Switch to Gas initiative. Can you encapsulate these three very innovative projects, and what are your intentions really?
Thank you very much. This is Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, and really what we'll focus on is the three P's: the people, the planet, profitability, and I'm adding another S, sustainability. Whatever we're doing, is it good for the people? Is it good for the planet in terms of global warming, climate change, pollution, degradation, and is it profitable? Because we can't spend $1 billion saying we want to clean Atlantic Ocean when people are hungry. So all those three P's must be met before we proceed. So I'll start with Eco for Clean Air. A lot of people are ignorant of the fact that air pollution causes death. The health impact of air pollution is not known. The knowledge is, maybe doctors, because I'm a medical doctor, I know, but for most people out there, they're ignorant. A study done by World Bank in 2020 in this Lagos showed that 65% of deaths were premature, and it was due to air pollution. And out of those 65, almost 70 were children below the age of 5. And it goes without saying that you strap your child on the back, you are frying akara. Strap your child on the back, you are selling things. There's something called particulate matter in the air. Our lungs can only filter oxygen. It was made for oxygen, clean air. When there's air pollution, then we're troubling the lungs. Eco for Clean Air, in that case, considered the people. Now the planet itself. When we look at the issues of global warming and climate change, it comes back to affect us. It comes back to haunt us. Global warming, you would see at some times we have incredibly hot temperatures at a different, like in dry season, all of a sudden it's raining, or in rainy season it is so hot, flash floods. When all of that starts to happen, the planet is complaining. When we throw plastics into the drainages and our drainage channels are blocked and it goes back into the water, it will come back to us. That's for the planet. And in terms of air, air is life, not only for human beings, also for life underwater. There's a particular sustainable development goal, I think it's 17, that focuses on life underwater. So Eco for Clean Air is touching on all of that. And talking about profitability, reducing or stopping the burning of fossil fuel, cooking with firewood, burning your waste. It is illegal in Lagos State to burn your waste. There's a fine for it, imprisonment time for it. So how do we now start to let people know all these big things I've spoken about? Advocacy, advocacy, advocacy. Education, education, education. Information, information, information. But the most important part, I'll say it 4 times: communication, 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 and communication. I realize that mostly in government, we talk at people, we don't get feedback. So with Eco for Clean Air, we want feedback. Right now, we're doing a study on knowledge, attitude, and practices of a certain area of Ethiopia in collaboration with a donor to the agency, IHS Towers. What we are finding out is it calls for intervention. Eco for Clean Air is about educating people, finding problems, and mitigating. However, as an environmental protection agency, my desire is that we focus more on prevention of air pollution. We also have enforcement, and we fight with people who pollute the air. Smoking vehicles, generators, whatever you are doing in your industry, your trade effluents must not pollute the air. So that's what Eco for Clean Air is all about. And in creating awareness, we realize that people like incentives. So at some point in the course of Eco for Clean Air project, thanks to our sponsors IHS, we will be giving out gas cylinders with burners filled with gas free of charge in exchange for burning of fossil fuels. And the profitability part comes into play. The woman who has to first gather wood, make sure it's not raining, fan it, and all, starts to realize that cooking with gas, my turnover is higher, I'm stressing less, my output is less, then it becomes profitable. Is it sustainable? Yes. When we give you the gas and the burner, all you need to do is refill your gas. It would interest you to know that wood is very expensive. There's a waste management agency, there's the Ministry of Environment, who also have, I mean, we all have one goal to keep and sustain the environment. But what LASEPA is doing is called Thrash for Cash. We want people to start understanding that there's nothing called waste. Somebody's waste is somebody's raw material. I was at a factory in Denmark where they actually use urine to manufacture beer. And when you think about it, it may seem disgusting. And on the other side, fecal waste is very good for fertilizer, improving your soil quality. Things that are valuable, you don't see them littering the space. Why do we see plastic bottles all the time littering our shores? Eko is a coastal city. So whenever there's rain, the water brings out all the asalts and pollutions and leave it. Just walk across the shores from Eko Atlantic all the way to Oniru, Aja. Anytime it rains, there's a plastic trail all over. That's for sight. The ones we don't see, it blocks our drainages. And plastic is not degradable. So we decided, what do we do with this menace of plastic pollution? Because we don't see cans littering the streets. We don't see steel littering the streets. If you throw this chair out, in 10 minutes, somebody will pick it up because it's waste to me, but it's cash to somebody else. So the idea of Thrash for Cash came up. And what we have simply done is we have put a premium on the price of plastics with taxpayers' money, donations and grants and funding. With a premium, people would pick. With our pilots that we had in Obalende, in 2 hours, the whole of Obalende was free of plastics. We were giving them their money right there and then. You would ask me, that is the cash for trash sustainable? Yes. In spite of the fact that I'm putting a premium to attract people to bring their bottles, go and pick on the streets, it's done everywhere in the world just to sensitize people. When they know that this thing really can earn me money, they start to keep it. And the plan is to take recyclers to those communities. More and more people coming up every day recycling plastic. So this Cash for Trash is a joint initiative, and We are mapping out areas where it will be expedient to have recyclers based there. For example, markets, food courts, around where there are many restaurants. Let us have recyclers so they're not clustered in one place. And the end point of Cash for Trash is we will mop up the current plastics on the streets of Lagos. And the sustainability plan is people will continue to scavenge for plastic for cash for trash.
Can you share some of these challenges you're facing and what efforts are you making to try to mitigate them?
Change is difficult, but I will take us on a journey back onto history. At a time in this country, nobody obeyed. We didn't even have traffic lights. Talk less of obeying traffic lights. And when they brought traffic lights, people were not obeying. At a time in this country, nobody wore seat belts. There was a lot of education, advocacy, and enforcement. FRSC meant business. And now it's almost automatic when you enter your car, you wear your seat belt. So we've met a lot of resistance along the way. But with time, people start to understand that it is for their own good. The challenges I've had is that, for example, we caught someone selling a white tortoise, which is almost an extinct species. In developed countries, if you catch that kind of thing, you have to throw it back into the water. People are not aware that is on ecology and conservation. Even on global warming and climate change, people think it is so futuristic or is a white man's business. No, it's not. We're suffering from it when there are flash floods and they say canals and some people were swept away and children are dying and all. Those are effects of climate change. So when we educate, that resistance starts to dwindle. But yes, we have faced a lot of challenges, but it is due to lack of awareness. Lagos is much better than many cities in Nigeria. You would not see human remains or animal remains on the streets of Lagos as it used to be in the past. Lagos is doing its best, and this current administration, if you look at the themes agenda, the governor actually picked out environment as an important part of the pillar. He put health and environment together. Without a good environment, there's no good health. And that to me shows political will and a vision and a mission. So, yes, Lagos is doing well in terms of keeping the environment protected.
Lagosians will also really like to know what has been the level of support from the governor's office to this agency, and possibly also share with us which of the critical agencies, partners, international organizations that are also helping you to achieve your mandate.
Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos State, deserves an award for paying extra attention to environmental matters. The former president of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, did not believe in global warming and climate change. And he pulled himself out of many conventions and many treaties that were signed for the world to come together to fight global warming and climate change. And a lot of people voted against that action. Mr. Sanwo-Olu is someone who is very proactive. His campaign is based on ideologies like, yes, the environment must be sustainable. In fact, he recently inaugurated a circular economy roundtable for us to push further on this waste to wealth matter, for us to find bankable projects. There's even an innovation hub in the Ministry of Science and Technology where people can just come in and say, we have this idea. How can you support us in anything that keeps the environment going? Is in on it. And in the private sector, we have had many people show willingness, support, not by financially empowering us, but by obeying the laws, by ensuring that they're not polluting in the course of their manufacturing. I would like to mention Promasidor. Promasidor has completely closed loop when it comes to pollution and circular economy. All the water that comes out from their system, they treat it, take it back into the system to the level where the water is potable. For the ones that are not potable, they use in the sewer system. They use to irrigate their flowers, wash things. So I commend Promasidor.
Let's look at research and data gathering. For an agency of this nature, you need to work with data. And you, of course, need to also do a lot of research. Can you tell us what is the effort the agency is doing in this regard? That is one. Secondly, human capacity building for your workforce.
Research and development is very important to us. Important enough for us to have a department with people constantly researching and gathering data towards publication. We have a data bank. And in terms of our staff and capacity building, we have gone as far as going international. And it would interest you to know that other states sent the environmental team to understudy LASEPA. As a matter of fact, American Embassy, the Consular General, has been here and they actually gave us a fellow from the United States of America, Professor Jimmy, to work with us on air quality. The partnership is for a year and the fellow is supporting us in capacity building and showing us best practices.
What's your word of assurance and an encouragement to Lagosians and all stakeholders in the environmental chain in the city of Lagos for a safe and secured environmental friendly city?
I can only assure Lagosians that if you play your parts and you take this message serious, change your mindset about how you view the environment, then my assurance to you is that we will be living a sustainable Mother Earth for our generations that are coming and generations yet unborn. But it is a collective responsibility. It is not just government alone.
General Manager LASEPA, having spoken to us on the state of environment, also looking at the major, very critical, innovative initiatives of this agency. And of course, the General Manager has also spoken about efforts of the Lagos State Governor in trying to ensure that this agency is able to achieve its set objectives. I want to thank you, madam, for coming.
Thank you very much.
So that's it on the City of Lagos TV show. The show continues in a moment. Stay tuned.